need to look so surprised. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, well, she's a lot smaller than I expected. People often tell me that when they meet me for the first time. When I was covering the state Democratic convention, one of Boss Tweed's men said to me, "What? Are you Nellie Bly? The real Nellie Bly? Why, bless me. I would never have thought such a little thing as you could have done all the things you've done. Well, I imagined you must be as big as John L. Sullivan." I pledged myself to be as truthful as possible, so I must confess that it was not 20 years ago that I was committed to the insane asylum. It was, in fact, 25 years ago. If your head for figures is like mine, I'll just tell you. It was 1887. I was 12 years old at the time. Well, really, there is such a thing as being too honest, wouldn't you agree? Ladies, I was counting on the applause and whistles. I think that seeing how helpless my mother was, how dependent she was on him, and yet how she hated it, that was what made me so determined to provide for myself, to rely only on myself. Once I entered the insane asylum, I would certainly have no one else to rely on. I had read that the insane have staring eyes, so I opened mine as wide as possible and stared, unblinking, at my own reflection. The sight was not reassuring. Miss Tilly Maillard had been a chambermaid. Then when me health gave way, I was sent to the sisters' home for treatment. But me nephew couldn't pay me expenses there. Well, he was out of work, you see, and so he had me sent here. Is there anything wrong with you mentally? No. The doctors have been asking me many curious questions and confusing me, but there's nothing wrong with me brain. You do know that only insane people are brought here. Yes, I know that, but I'm unable to do a thing about it. The doctors won't listen to me. The more sane I talk, the more convinced they are that I'm crazy. A few days later, Dr. Ingram called me into his office again. He took my pulse, which I admit quickened when he took my hand, and he examined my tongue and my eyes. "Miss Brown, you do not have the appearance of a lunatic." "Nor do many of the women I have talked to, doctor, and yet here we are." "Oh, I didn't realize you were qualified to make a medical diagnosis." "Well, I'm not, but I am qualified to listen. And they've told me some distressing stories of how they came to be here. Perhaps you should listen to them too, doctor." Perhaps you're right. I see Miss Group has provided you with some warmer clothing. Well, it's not much, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Well, let me see your tongue again there, Miss Brown. Whatever for? I didn't notice the first time how unusually sharp it is. Let me give it some thought. He gave it quite a lot of thought. About a year's worth. I went on to other projects and forgot all about my proposal. Then, one evening, Mr. Cockrell summoned me to his office. I assumed I was to be scolded for something, as I often was. "I have a question for you, Miss Bly." "Yes." "Can you start around the world the day after tomorrow?" If Frank Ingram had been there to take my pulse, he would have been astounded. But I managed to keep my calm. "I can start this minute if you like." "No, we'll put you on the Augusta Victoria, which sails for England on the 14th, if you can be ready." "Oh, I'll be ready." I thought that since I was named after a character in a song, I could do the same for him. I called him McGinty. Well, Patrick McGinty, an Irishman of note, came into a fortune, so he bought himself a goat. Says he, "Shower of goat's milk I mean to have me fill." But when he brought his nanny home, he found it was a bill. The men from captain to cook are fine creatures. Their physical vigor is superb. Such muscles, such clear, ruddy skins, white teeth and turquoise eyes. They are flat-backed and lean-loined, and they carry their huge shoulders with a lordly swagger. The station was packed with people, and when I stepped down, a yell went up, and the cannons at Fort Greene boomed. I took off my hat and yelled with them, not because I had gone around the world in 72 days, but because I was home again. Thanks to the nightmarish weather, which sent more than one boat to the bottom, Miss Bisland's ship, instead of taking 7 days for the crossing, took almost 12. She arrived in New York on the 29th, well ahead of Phileas Fogg, but 4 days behind me. You've been surrounded by a lot of rogues and scoundrels, and the worst of them was E.R. Gilman. He's been paying his debts with your money, and in addition, the chief cashier has forged your name on dozens of checks. But surely they were small amounts. I'm afraid not. I would estimate the losses at roughly $500,000. And so, I say to you, what I said to my colleagues at the Dispatch when I left for New York all those many years ago. Look out for me.
And I got to tell you, that was not an evening of madness, but an evening of simply magic. It was just terrific. Totally enjoyed it.
The whole flow of the performance now is so strong. You feel Nellie Bly through the whole thing, and when she's taking on the different characters, there's just such a richness in how she portrays them. It's just such a delight. You never know what's coming next. It's Nellie Bly completely. She's done such a fine job with it.
I feel like although it was a one-woman show, that I've just met a whole slew of characters, and it was so much fun. And that was my favorite part, was just being able to imagine the people that she was talking to and where she was, and it was just fabulous. I totally recommend seeing it.